Hey everyone, welcome to my escape. So this month I read 4 books, which is not close to my monthly average if you've been following me. However, I had a very busy week. You can go check out my life update. It will be on one of these sides. I think I'm pointing at the right spot. Here I will put my recent life update. You want to catch up on what I've kind of been up to this past month and why I was only able to read 4 books. But 4 books is honestly still a lot to crush in a month, and I'm kind of happy because I didn't even think I'd have that done. So, did I really accomplish any of my reading goals? No, because all 4 of them are romance. That's the only genre I read this month. And none of them were physical books, so they didn't help me knock down my physical shelves whatsoever. It is what it is. I also didn't read one off my currently reading list, but I did figure that was going to happen, so I read 2 in March to kind of cheat the system, and we're flying high. So, we are going to go not in chronological order and not in genre because they're pretty much all the same genre. We're going to go from worst to best, probably. Lowest ranking to highest ranking. We're going to let the video build, okay? Get the negative ones out of the way, build to the more positive ones. So, we're going to start with Mr. Tonight. I actually saw on Instagram a while back, an Instagram reel, and then I went and looked at Kindle Unlimited, and Kindle Unlimited didn't have it, so I kind of just forgot about it, and it kind of just stayed in my saved. I have a saved list on Instagram of books I want to read, so I just scroll through that every now and again, and this one was pretty deep in there, and then I actually was like, I don't remember if I ever checked my library account, and then I did check my library account, and it was there, and I was like, oh, no way. So I picked that one up, and the reel was like, when you want to have hot birthday sex and you take this guy home, or like you go home with a guy and then his daughter walks in on you, and I was like, oh, no. And then you find out the next day he's your new landlord. I was like, oh, the drama. Oh, the drama. So I picked it up. It was just annoying. It was just annoying to read. And like, I'm a sucker for single dad stories. I don't know why. I really don't. But they hit, and this one did not. It just did not. The kid just felt weird and like not like, it was definitely a kid written by an adult. And I mean, most kids are written by adults, but like some of them have like better understanding of how kids act and interact, and it was just like weird. Also, the ending went on forever, like literally forever, and I was like, I don't even like epilogues to begin with. I'm not here to see the couple happy together. I'm here for the drama. I'm here for the tension. Like, but for the most part, I wasn't invested. I really didn't care. The kid was just like, was not a kid. The guy was kind of annoying, and the girl was kind of like nothing. There was really like nothing to her. So didn't love it, gave it 2 stars. It is what it is. Definitely unsaved that from my Instagram. Also, you will find this a running theme, so it might not necessarily be about this book, but I basically skipped like 3 smut scenes. I think I read the first one, and then by the time the next one came up, I was like, I literally don't care. Like, I literally don't care, and I don't think it was like good. So I just skipped. But I think I did that with 3 of my 4 reads this month. So I might just be exiting my smut era or needing like a palate cleanser because it was not happening for me. So it could just be these 3 books, could be me. Another 2-star read for me was Kiss the Sky. This series I have seen quite often. It's kind of a classic on the book platforms, and yet I've never had any interest in reading it ever because it's not really my type of thing. I don't really read a lot of contemporaries, despite, 3 of the 4 being contemporaries this month. But I don't really read a lot of contemporary romances, and I don't like stories about the spoiled rich kids. Like, I just don't care. Like, your problems are not relatable, and I don't care. Like, I literally don't care. Which makes me sound like snobby or stereotypical or whatever, but like I don't care. I don't need to read a book where a bunch of, rich kids do drugs. That's not fun to me. I'm sorry. Never had any interest in it, and then again, it just popped up on my library, and it was like, you should read this, and I was like, oh wait, no way, the library has it, it's right here at the click of a button. Okay, I know enough creators that really like the series, so I picked it up. So Kiss the Sky follows the Calloway sisters, specifically Rose Calloway, and Rose, Lily, and Daisy are all sisters. And in a previous book or a previous series, Lily came out as a sex addict, and since then, her family's companies have been struggling. So the dad's company has lost shares, and Rose's company, she owns a fashion company of some kind, is basically being kicked out of all her deals and kind of, avoided because of this scandal. So Rose comes to the conclusion that the way to save the family companies is to start a reality TV show with her and her sisters, which, I mean, okay. I don't get it, but okay. So her and her two sisters, and then Rose's boyfriend and Lily's boyfriend all move into one house with Lily's boyfriend's half brother, who of course has like a thing for Daisy, but that's not said so because she's underage, which just made the whole thing like weird. And I was like, I'm not really rooting to have this in the future because that's like a little too groomy for me. Thanks. But I just didn't understand like why a reality TV show would solve anything and why any of these characters would agree to it in the first place. Like the one girl is supposed to be like super, super shy, and why would she? I'm like, I get maybe for her because she's being told by her family that like her problems and her addiction is causing a bunch of issues for the family business and the family, etc., etc. So she'll go out of her way, I guess. But why the boyfriend agreed to it, and why the younger sister agreed to it, and why Rose even thought of it or suggested it or thought it was a good idea in the beginning, and then I just didn't like it. I didn't really like the premise. I didn't like the foundation. I didn't really understand it, and I really, 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 really did not like Rose and Connor. The main couple. I did not like them. I did not like them. They're both arrogant. They're both assholes. I don't like them. I'm not rooting for either one of them, let alone for them together. I'm like, I literally don't care, and both of you need to be punched in the face. Politely, but like not that politely. You know? I'm not advocating for violence, but I'm saying you could be taken down a peg or two. So reading about them and then talk about spot scenes that I absolutely skipped. Like I was dreading anytime they would even like slightly start or like slight foreplay would happen. I'd be like, oh, no, I don't care. I don't want to read this. So I skipped so many of their scenes. I would read the dialogue because sometimes authors just drop like monumentous dialogues in the middle of these scenes, you know, and then it reflects later on. So I skimmed the dialogue, but other than that, I was like, I literally don't care. What? And then the whole thing at the end, and I was like, what did you expect, frankly? Like, not that it was right, and not that I condone it in any, like, frame, but I'm saying Rose messed up, and you could see it coming from the beginning, and I didn't like the writing on it. If it were to happen in real life, 100% would be siding with the Calloway sisters and be like, no, this is super messed up. But because it happened in the story, I'm like, this is stupid. But yeah, and then there was no real, like, the story was just anticlimactic and there was no real consequences. And I was just like, what? Literally, what? I did like how each character was different, though. And I did think Lily and Lauren, or whatever his name was, were really cute together in their moments, but not enough to make me pick up their series or care, and definitely not enough to make me read Daisy's stories, because I'm like, she's literally a child. She should not be facing these things, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So read that one, was not impressed. But it is what it is. Those were my 2 stars of the month. Then I had a 3-star read, which is a step up. Okay, there's a big leap between 2 and 3 stars. So my 3-star read was a mafia romance. So got kind of back into my mafia era last month with the Sinners Consumed and Condemned rereads. So I read a new mafia romance this month. It was good. It was okay. There were some questionable moments, like in a story that's going to have some spice in it or some spicy times in it, don't describe the female main character as a child or as a teenager, because that really creeps me out. Especially when the guy's like 35. I'm like, no, we don't want to normalize this. Also, extreme height differences, I can't stand. Okay, I just think the whole thing is creepy. Like, why would you want to walk around with somebody and look like you're their parent or that you're their child? When the height difference is so extreme, you look like a 10-year-old beside them, don't date them, okay? It's weird. It makes everyone uncomfortable, and I'm like, why though? Like, the physics of it, I mean, someone's gonna get a back injury. Like, it's just, no, you're gonna crane your neck? Just no. Oh my god, okay, well, I'm outing myself here, but I'm not a big height difference person, but especially when they're extreme. So this had both of the extreme height difference, and then also upon first seeing her, he described her as a teenager and like all this other stuff. And I was like, that is creepy. That's creepy. That's the direction you took this. And then all like the normal stuff. Like there was a trope at the end that I don't like, but I can't tell you without spoilers, but like I didn't like that. A lot of telling me how they're feeling instead of showing me, or telling me how they changed instead of showing me. Like, this is a book. You don't need to spell it out for me. Show me a difference. You know, I'll infer it. I'll pick up on it. I've been with the story A to B. I don't need you to go A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. I will see the progression. Trust your audience to see the progression, and I'll trust the author to show it to me, okay? But if you don't show me anything and you just tell me, I'm not going to believe you. So the parts I did like about this book, I did like Nina, the main character, the female main character. I did like how she had something specific about her that made her useful to the situation and useful to the mafia, and made the like arranged marriage make sense, like why he pushed for it with her. It made sense, where in a lot of them I find it's like, well, this could literally be anyone, like why is it her type of idea. So I really did like that. She had traits that were really helpful to the situation and to the mafia. Plus I just liked her traits in general. I really liked like the art angle and how her art was weird. I don't know. I really liked that, okay? I did feel like she was a character. She definitely did fit a lot of like archetypes and stuff like that, and stereotypes, but she did feel like a character. The main guy, he was pretty much cookie cutter as well. He has an injury, so I mean that's not as prevalent, I suppose, so I guess that could set him apart. But I found a lot of like the dialogue and some of his inner thoughts a little ableist, and I was like, I don't know if this is how I would have approached his story, just especially in the climate that we live in. But okay, I didn't like him, and he was just boring. I didn't even like not like him for specific reasons. It was like I didn't like him because I was bored and I didn't really care, and some things were just like very irritating. But they did have the thing where there's like a time gap a little bit, like not a big one, not a huge one, but I love time gaps to show that it's not like lust. It's not just like, okay, once you bang it out enough you'll get over it kind of thing. I don't know, I feel like when the author spreads it out over some more time, I believe it better. So I did enjoy that. The smut and the spice was ridiculously fast, and I was like, if you don't want to write the scenes, don't. That's fine. I will read a closed door. That's fine. But don't half commit to it, okay? I don't want to read 3 sentences about rushedness because it just gives me phantom pain. So just don't include it, okay? Just don't include it and we'll all be happy. But yeah, so that was my 3-star. And then I had a 4-star, which I actually gave 4.5, which I might pump up to 5, but I'm going to buy the book and then annotate it, and then I will decide if it's truly a 5-star read for me. But that is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. So last month I had a 5-star. I think I gave it 5 stars. Beach Read by Emily Henry. And then this month I read her Book Lovers. And I love Emily Henry. And she also released a new book this month. So we're very excited. We're very excited. So I have 2 more of hers now that I can still read. But just like with Beach Read, I want to buy this book, annotate it, all that fun stuff. So I loved it. Book Lovers. It starts in New York and it opens on this girl, and she's literally like, I am the archetype in the Hallmark, because this is very like Hallmark movie-esque or Hallmark kind of story-esque, and has a lot of like nods to that. So she's like, I'm literally the archetype in these Hallmark movies of the ex-girlfriend, or the girlfriend that gets left for the small town romance. You know how there's always that like big city girl, and then then the man like has to go to some small town to foreclose on a farm, and then he falls in love with the farm girl and he leaves his cold-hearted city girlfriend. She's the cold-hearted city girlfriend, and she knows that, and like you kind of felt for her in that way, and I just really liked the story from her perspective. So she's a book agent in New York, and she has her sister, and her sister's like, hey, like I really want to go on this trip to this small town. It means the world to me, and the sisters are really close, so she's like, okay, I will go with you, we can do this. And they go, and she runs into somebody that she knows from the book kind of publishing world in New York, and they've had a little bit of animosity in the past. She's like, no way is this guy here. They keep running into each other, and yeah, there's some chemistry, there's some sparks, and they kind of understand each other. It was so cute, and it was like the reverse story. I've seen a lot of like Instagram reels and stuff where people are like, give me the reverse of the Hallmark movie, like that would be so fun. And I agree, and I love those reels, and this gave me those vibes. It really was like, I don't want to spoil anything, but it was the reverse. It was the reverse of a Hallmark movie, but it still made you happy, and it still made you smile, and it still gave you the So the one thing stopping it from being a 5-star for me now is the ending was like a little boring. I find most epilogues a little and a little boring, but this one to me it was just like, I don't know. I don't know. But I loved the rest of it, so I feel like I can't stop it from being a 5-star read because the ending was just a little like, like there was nothing truly wrong with it. It was just personal preference. So we'll see. That might actually be boosted to a 5-star read, but I love Emily Henry. I love Emily Henry, and now I need to own her books so that I can go through and I can highlight and I can smile and I can be happy. Those are the 4 books I did read. I did start and not finish 3 or 4 books, in the sense of like I put them down at like the 25-30% mark. So I'm not gonna like say their names, and I'm not going to put them down as DNF on my Goodreads just because that's not really fair to the book. It's more like I'm not in the mood, and I feel like I just can't comment on like 30% into a book whether it's good or bad. It just, I wasn't feeling it, so put those to the side. Well, just probably forgot about them. I don't even remember what they were called, so it's not like I could go back and read them again. But yeah, I think I'm exiting my smut era because I really didn't care about any of those. I mean, aside from Book Lover, but that one I read like very early on in the month. And the rest of them, I was like, any smut scene would come up and I was just like, no, like, no. So I think I'm going to go into a couple reads with no spice and no smut. And I'm thinking I'm going to go into some thrillers because I've never read any thrillers, but there's a couple I want to read. So we're going to get into that. There's one I'm really interested in, and I would like to say it's my anticipated read for next book, but I'm really having a problem like pinning it down. I can't find it anywhere, which is really weird because it's a very popular book. So it's going to pop up. It just, I'm not sure why I'm struggling in that sense so much. But yeah, that's my April wrap up. This was very chaotic. Thanks for sticking around. I will not be filming in front of my window anymore, and I don't know how people do it because yes, you do have natural light and that's great. But also I just keep looking about like what's happening out the window and I get distracted and I lose my train of thought. So this was not my best decision. But for next week, I will have my bookshelf set up. That video will be coming if you want to watch me set up my bookshelf. And until then, I will see you guys on the next one. Bye!